The morning air was cool, quiet, and clean, the kind of peaceful silence you only get in neighborhoods where nobody expects anything bad to happen. Marcus Hill liked it that way. He stood in the driveway of a small but well-kept home on Brookfield Court, wearing a plain grey hoodie and black jeans. No flashy jewelry, no loud attitude, just a man trying to start his day without drama. At 8:12 a.m., Marcus was doing something completely normal. He was unloading a medium-sized black toolbox from the trunk of his car. Inside the toolbox were nothing but basic tools, a socket set, a tire pressure gauge, a small cordless drill, and a pack of zip ties. The kind of stuff you'd find in any working man's trunk. Marcus had always been the fix-it-yourself type. If the sink leaked, he didn't call a plumber. If the car made a weird sound, he didn't panic. He watched YouTube videos, grabbed his tools, and handled it. Today's problem was simple. His wife's car, a silver Honda Accord, had been making a faint grinding noise near the front wheel. He planned to check it before she left for work. 10 minutes. Maybe 15. That's it. But Marcus didn't realize he wasn't the only one awake on Brookfield Court. Across the street, behind white blinds that barely moved, Deborah Whitman, a retired woman in her early 60s, stared through the window with a tight, suspicious expression. Deborah had lived on that street for over 20 years. She knew every face. She knew which cars belonged to which families. And in her mind, Marcus Hill didn't match the picture of what a proper homeowner looked like. Not because he was acting suspicious, not because he was breaking into anything, just because he was black. Deborah watched Marcus for a full 30 seconds, long enough for her brain to invent a story that wasn't happening. A man in a hoodie, a toolbox, a quiet street, a car trunk open. To her, it wasn't a husband helping his wife. It was someone casing the neighborhood. She picked up her phone. Her fingers didn't shake. Her voice didn't tremble, because in her mind, she wasn't doing anything wrong. She was being responsible. The dispatcher answered quickly. 911. What's your emergency? Deborah lowered her voice like she was reporting a crime in progress. Yes, hi. I'm on Brookfield Court. There's a man in a hoodie. He's going through a car. I don't recognize him. He has tools. I'm worried he might be trying to steal something. The dispatcher asked the usual questions. What's the address? Deborah gave it, and here's the part that would matter later. She didn't even know the address belonged to Marcus. She assumed it didn't. She assumed he was an outsider. As Marcus closed the trunk and turned toward the Honda, he heard nothing. No sirens. No shouting. No warning. Just the soft sound of birds and the faint hum of sprinklers turning on down the street. But 2 miles away, a patrol car was already moving. And Marcus Hill had no idea that his ordinary morning was about to become the worst moment of his life, all because someone else decided he didn't belong. Officer Kyle Mercer had already decided how this call was going to end before his patrol car even turned onto Brookfield Court. The radio crackled as dispatch repeated the details. Suspicious male, hoodie, possibly tampering with a vehicle. Caller feels unsafe. Mercer exhaled through his nose, one hand resting casually on the steering wheel. Of course, he muttered. He had been a cop for 12 years, long enough to believe his instincts were better than procedure. Long enough to think patterns mattered more than facts. Brookfield Court was the kind of neighborhood Mercer liked responding to. Quiet, clean, mostly white. The kind of place where residents waved at police cruisers instead of questioning them. As he slowed the car, he saw Marcus immediately. Standing next to a silver Honda, toolbox nearby, calm, unbothered. Mercer didn't see a homeowner. He saw a problem waiting to be justified. He pulled the cruiser up at an angle, not blocking the driveway, but close enough to establish control. He didn't turn on the sirens. He didn't need the attention. The car door opened. Mercer stepped out slowly, adjusting his duty belt like it was second nature. His body language said everything before he spoke, chest forward, chin raised, hand hovering just a little too close to his holster. Marcus noticed him instantly. He straightened up and turned, hands clearly visible. "Morning, officer," Marcus said calmly. "Everything all right?" Mercer didn't answer the question. Instead, he scanned Marcus from head to toe like he was inventory. Hoodie, jeans, work boots, toolbox. "Step away from the vehicle," Mercer said. Marcus blinked once, confused but compliant. He took a step back. Is there a problem? Marcus asked. This is my wife's car. Mercer smirked slightly. Is it? He replied. Marcus felt the shift immediately. The tone. The assumption. The lack of curiosity. Yes, Marcus said evenly. We live here. Mercer took another step closer, closing the distance without reason. Uh-huh. And whose house is this? He asked, pointing toward the front door. Marcus glanced at the house and then back at the officer. Mine, he said. I can get you. I didn't ask for a story. Mercer cut in. I asked for ID. Marcus hesitated not because he didn't have it, but because something felt wrong. I haven't done anything illegal, Marcus said carefully. Am I being detained? Mercer's jaw tightened. That question annoyed him. Don't get smart, Mercer snapped. We got a call about someone messing with a car. You match the description. Marcus looked around the empty street. I'm the only one here, he said. So yeah, I guess I do. Mercer's eyes narrowed. Hands where I can see them, he said, voice sharper now. Marcus raised his hands slightly, palms open. I'm cooperating, he said. I just want to understand what's going on. But Mercer wasn't interested in understanding. To him, this wasn't a conversation. It was a test of control, and Marcus Hill had already failed it, not because of what he did, but because of how he looked. Marcus could feel it, that invisible shift in the air when a situation stops being normal and becomes dangerous. Officer Mercer wasn't just checking on a call. He was looking for a reason. Mercer stood a few feet away now, close enough that Marcus could smell stale coffee on his breath. His eyes were cold, like Marcus wasn't a person, just a problem to solve. Where's the ID? Mercer asked again. Marcus kept his voice steady. It's inside, he said, nodding toward the front door. I can grab it if you want. Mercer shook his head immediately. No, he said. You're not going anywhere. Marcus frowned. Okay. Then what do you want me to do? He asked. Mercer's mouth twisted into something that wasn't a smile. I want you to stop playing games, he said, because I've heard this one before. Marcus blinked. This one? Mercer took a step closer, lowering his voice like he was talking to a child. You people love pretending you live somewhere you don't, Mercer said. Then when we catch you suddenly I'm just fixing my wife's car. Marcus froze, not because he didn't have a response, but because he knew exactly what this was. He'd experienced it before at traffic stops, in stores, in parking lots. That look, that tone, the assumption that he was lying by default. Marcus swallowed the anger rising in his throat. Officer, Marcus said carefully, I'm not pretending. I live here. My name is Marcus Hill. The mailbox has my name on it. Mercer didn't even glance at the mailbox. Instead, he lifted his radio slightly. Dispatch. Confirm homeowner name for this address, Mercer said. Marcus's eyebrows raised. You're calling dispatch instead of letting me get my ID, Marcus asked. Mercer looked at him like he was stupid. You don't get to tell me how to do my job, Mercer said. Marcus exhaled slowly. I'm not trying to, he replied. I'm just trying to avoid a misunderstanding. Mercer's eyes narrowed again. A misunderstanding? He repeated. So you think I'm misunderstanding something? Marcus paused. He was trying to pick every word carefully, because he knew one wrong tone could turn into aggression. But the truth was obvious. Mercer had already made up his mind. Marcus glanced across the street, and that's when he noticed the woman behind the blinds. Deborah Whitman. She was standing there with her phone in her hand, staring like she was watching a crime documentary. The moment Marcus made eye contact, she quickly pulled back like she hadn't been watching at all. Marcus's stomach tightened. So that's what this was. A neighbor call. A suspicious black man. Mercer followed Marcus's gaze and smirked. Yeah, Mercer said, voice dripping with satisfaction. People around here pay attention. They don't like strangers. Marcus turned back toward him. I'm not a stranger, Marcus said, firmer now. I live here. I pay taxes here. Mercer laughed a short, ugly sound. Sure you do, he said. And I'm the mayor. Marcus felt his patience slipping. Officer, Marcus said, I'm standing in my own driveway. I haven't threatened you. I haven't run. I'm cooperating. So again, am I being detained? Or am I free to go inside and get my ID? Mercer's face changed instantly. That question hit his ego. His posture stiffened. His hand moved slightly toward his belt. "You want to play lawyer?" Mercer said. "You want to talk about detained?" Marcus didn't respond. Mercer leaned in. "Here's what's going to happen," Mercer said. "You're going to put your hands behind your back." Marcus's heart dropped. "What?" Marcus asked. "You heard me," Mercer said. "Hands behind your back." Marcus took a slow step backward, not running, just instinctively creating space. "Why?" Marcus asked. "What crime?" Mercer's voice rose. "Obstruction," he snapped. "Failure to identify. Suspicious behavior." Marcus stared at him. He realized something in that moment. This wasn't about safety. This wasn't about procedure. This was about power. And Mercer was about to prove it in front of everyone. Marcus didn't move, not because he was trying to challenge the officer, but because he was trying to survive. Officer Mercer stood there, waiting like he wanted Marcus to hesitate, like he wanted the smallest delay so he could label it non-compliance. Marcus had seen this before, not in person, but in videos, in stories, in headlines that always started the same way. "Police say the suspect resisted," and somehow the footage always didn't exist, or the body cam malfunctioned, or the recording started right after the worst part. Marcus's mind was racing, but his face stayed calm. He looked at Mercer and spoke slowly, clearly. "Officer," Marcus said, "I'm not resisting. I'm not threatening you. I'm trying to cooperate." Mercer's eyes narrowed. "Then do what I told you," Mercer said. Marcus nodded once, but before he moved his hands behind his back, he did something Mercer didn't notice. He shifted his weight slightly, pretending he was adjusting his hoodie. Inside the hoodie pocket, Marcus's phone was already there. He had placed it there earlier while unloading tools. And now, without pulling it out, without making it obvious, Marcus pressed the side button twice the way he'd practiced, after seeing too many people get destroyed by false police reports. The screen stayed dark. But the audio recording started. A small red dot appeared under the lock screen. Marcus didn't smile. He didn't act confident. He didn't show victory. Because he knew the truth. Recording didn't stop violence. But it could stop lies. He looked Mercer in the eyes again. "I'm going to comply," Marcus said. "But I want to be clear. I do not consent to any searches, and I am not resisting." Mercer scoffed. "You don't consent?" Mercer repeated. "You think you're in charge here?" Marcus stayed calm. "No," Marcus said. "I'm just documenting what I'm saying." Mercer tilted his head. "Documenting?" he said, mocking. "What is this, a documentary?" Marcus didn't answer. He slowly placed his hands behind his back. Mercer stepped in immediately, grabbing Marcus's wrists with unnecessary force, twisting them like Marcus was a violent criminal instead of a man standing in a driveway. Marcus's jaw clenched. "That's too tight," Marcus said. "You're hurting me." Mercer leaned closer, voice low. "Good," he whispered. "Maybe you'll remember next time." Marcus felt the cold metal snap around his wrists. The handcuffs clicked tighter and tighter. He could feel the pressure instantly sharp, biting, like the steel was trying to cut into his skin. Marcus didn't scream. He didn't jerk away, because he knew that's what Mercer wanted. A reaction, a movement, a reason. Instead, Marcus did the opposite. He spoke calmly, clearly, like he was reading a statement into a microphone. "I am complying," Marcus said. "I am not resisting. Officer, you are applying cuffs too tight." Mercer yanked him forward. Marcus stumbled. "Stop moving!" Mercer barked. "I'm not moving," Marcus replied. "You're pulling me." Mercer pushed Marcus toward the hood of the patrol car. Marcus's chest hit the metal hard. Not enough to break bones, but enough to humiliate him. Enough to send a message. Mercer wanted Marcus to feel small. And for a moment, Marcus did. Because now, he could hear people outside. A door opening. A neighbor's voice. Someone whispering. Someone watching. And Marcus realized the worst part wasn't the cuffs. It wasn't even the pain. It was the fact that Mercer was putting on a show like Marcus was a dangerous animal that needed to be controlled. Marcus swallowed hard. His phone kept recording in his pocket. Every word, every threat, every lie Mercer was about to tell. And Marcus knew something else, too. This officer wasn't going to stop on his own. Mercer was going to keep going until Marcus broke. Or until Marcus gave him the one thing he wanted. A reason. But Marcus wasn't going to give him that. Not today. The moment the cuffs locked, Officer Mercer's entire demeanor changed. The tension in his shoulders eased like he'd finally gotten what he wanted. Control. Marcus was bent forward against the hood of the patrol car, the metal cold at first, then quickly warming under the morning sun. His wrists burned as the cuffs dug deeper with every slight movement. "Spread your feet," Mercer ordered. Marcus did. Wider. Marcus complied again. Careful. Slow. Every movement felt like walking through a minefield. Too fast, and Mercer would say he was lunging. Too slow, and it would become refusal. Marcus chose calm. "I am complying," he said again, clearly. "I'm not resisting." Mercer laughed under his breath. "Yeah, you all say that," Mercer replied. Marcus felt Mercer's forearm press hard into his upper back, forcing him lower against the hood. "Stop pushing me," Marcus said. "I'm not resisting." Mercer raised his voice instantly. "Stop tensing up," he shouted loud enough for the neighbors to hear. Marcus froze. "I'm not tensing," Marcus said. "You're pushing me." But Mercer had already started the performance. "Sir, stop resisting," Mercer barked again, this time louder. Marcus's heart pounded. He could hear it now, the doors opening, footsteps on pavement, murmurs spreading like ripples. People were watching. Mercer twisted Marcus's arm slightly, not enough to injure him, but enough to force a reaction. Marcus hissed through his teeth. "That hurts," Marcus said. "Please stop." Mercer leaned in close, his voice low and venomous. "You should have just done what I told you," Mercer whispered. Then, louder for the audience. "He's actively resisting." Marcus felt panic spike in his chest. "No," he said, louder now but controlled. "I am not resisting. You are hurting me." Mercer shoved Marcus's shoulder harder against the hood. The sound of skin hitting metal echoed down the street. Someone gasped. Marcus's cheek pressed against the car, his breath shallow, his jaw clenched. Every instinct in his body screamed to pull away, to fight, to run. But Marcus didn't, because he knew the truth. The moment he resisted even a little, Mercer would own the narrative. Instead, Marcus spoke again, slower this time, like he was talking to history. "I am complying," he said. "You are using unnecessary force." Mercer stepped back slightly and shook his head like he was disappointed. "Unbelievable," Mercer said loudly. "This is why we can't just talk anymore." Marcus heard a phone camera click somewhere behind him. That sound changed everything. Mercer heard it too. He straightened up, adjusting his vest, scanning the small group of neighbors gathering on the sidewalk. "Everyone back up," Mercer ordered. "Give us space." No one moved, because now they were curious. Now they were invested. Now this wasn't just police business, it was entertainment. Mercer grabbed Marcus by the arm again, jerking him upright. Marcus stumbled but caught his balance. "Watch it," Mercer snapped. "Stop resisting." "I didn't move," Marcus said, breathing hard. "You pulled me." Mercer's jaw tightened. His ego was bruised, and bruised egos were dangerous. Marcus felt it, that subtle shift when a cop stops caring about being right and starts caring about winning. Mercer wasn't trying to control the situation anymore. He was trying to control the story. And the only problem was this. Marcus's phone was still recording. Every lie. Every false command. Every moment Mercer tried to turn compliance into resistance. And Marcus knew, even if this ended badly right now, Mercer had already crossed a line he couldn't walk back from. By the time Mercer pulled Marcus fully upright, the street no longer felt quiet. It felt exposed. Two neighbors now stood openly on their porches. One woman had stepped halfway down her driveway, phone raised, pretending she was just checking messages. A man across the street leaned against his garage, arms crossed, watching without saying a word. Marcus felt every pair of eyes on him. Not with concern, with curiosity. Mercer noticed it too, and something in him seemed to enjoy it. Turn around, Mercer ordered. Marcus turned slowly, the cuffs biting deeper into his wrists. Face the street, Mercer added. Marcus hesitated for half a second. Why? He asked. Mercer stepped closer. So everyone can see you, he said. That's why. Mercer repositioned Marcus, so he was fully visible, hands cuffed behind his back, hoodie wrinkled, tools scattered near the driveway like evidence. A visual. A message. This is what happens when you don't cooperate. Marcus felt heat rush to his face, not from shame, but from anger he was trying desperately to control. I haven't done anything, Marcus said, loud enough for the neighbors to hear. I live here, Mercer snorted. Sure you do, he said. Funny how that always comes out after the cuffs go on. Marcus clenched his fists instinctively, then relaxed them immediately. The cuffs tightened again. Stop clenching, Mercer snapped. I'm not, Marcus replied. They're too tight. Mercer rolled his eyes theatrically. They're fine, he said. You're just uncomfortable. Marcus looked around. No one intervened. No one spoke up. They just watched, some with interest, some with discomfort, some with quiet approval. Mercer raised his voice again. Let me make this clear, Mercer said loudly. You're being detained for suspicious behavior and obstruction. That's not true, Marcus said. I've been cooperating the entire time. Mercer leaned in, voice dripping with condescension. You know, Mercer said, you people always say that. Marcus felt his stomach drop. There it was. Not loud enough to shock the crowd, not obvious enough to trigger outrage, but clear enough for Marcus to hear. You people? Marcus asked quietly. Mercer shrugged. People who don't know how to act, he replied. A woman across the street shifted uncomfortably. The man by the garage looked away. Mercer continued. You fit a description, he said. And honestly, if you belonged here, someone would have said something by now. Marcus's voice tightened. I belong here whether they say something or not. Mercer laughed. That confidence, he said. It's always misplaced. Mercer reached down and grabbed the chain of the cuffs, lifting Marcus's arms slightly, just enough to make it hurt. Marcus sucked in a breath. Stop, Marcus said. That's unnecessary. Mercer smiled faintly. Compliance feels uncomfortable sometimes, he said. Then, louder again for the audience. Sir, if you continue resisting, you'll be arrested. Marcus stared straight ahead. He realized something deeply unsettling. This wasn't about a call anymore. This wasn't even about control. This was about humiliation. Mercer wanted Marcus to feel small in front of his own home. He wanted the neighbors to remember this image. A black man in cuffs, in a nice neighborhood. Marcus closed his eyes briefly. His phone kept recording. The neighbors kept watching. And Mercer kept talking, digging himself deeper with every word. Because the truth was simple. The more Mercer tried to embarrass Marcus publicly, the more evidence he was creating against himself. And Marcus knew this moment, right here in front of everyone, was going to matter later. A lot. Marcus noticed it by accident. A small movement, a casual gesture that looked meaningless to anyone who didn't know what to look for. Officer Mercer reached up and adjusted something on his chest, just for a second. Too quick, too smooth. Marcus's eyes flicked to the body camera, clipped to Mercer's vest. The tiny red light that had been blinking earlier was now dark. Off. Marcus's stomach tightened. Officer, Marcus said calmly, is your body camera on? Mercer didn't answer right away. Instead, he exhaled loudly and shook his head like Marcus was being difficult again. Jesus Christ, Mercer muttered. You really don't know when to stop talking. Marcus didn't raise his voice. I'm just asking, he said, for both our protection. Mercer turned slowly, eyes hard. My camera is none of your concern, Mercer said. Worry about yourself, Marcus swallowed, because he knew what that meant. No camera, no record, only Mercer's word. And Mercer had already shown he was willing to lie. That's when Marcus noticed the second officer. Standing a few feet away, near the patrol car, was Officer Daniel Brooks, younger, quieter, newer. He hadn't said much since arriving. He hadn't touched Marcus, but he had seen everything. Brooks looked uncomfortable shifting his weight, avoiding eye contact, pretending to check something on the cruiser's screen. Marcus turned his head slightly. Officer, Marcus said, directing his voice toward Brooks without turning fully. Is your body cam on? Brooks froze. Mercer snapped his head around. Don't talk to my partner, Mercer barked. Brooks hesitated just long enough to answer without answering. Yes, Brooks said quietly. Mercer shot him a look that could cut glass. Marcus felt a strange mix of relief and dread. At least one camera was rolling. But Brooks wasn't stepping in. He wasn't stopping Mercer. He was standing there watching. Marcus realized something then. This was bigger than Mercer. This was about silence. Brooks cleared his throat. Kyle, he said cautiously. Maybe we should just verify his ID real quick. Mercer's jaw clenched. I've got it handled, Mercer snapped. Brooks nodded immediately. Okay, he said. And just like that, he stepped back. Marcus felt disappointment hit harder than the cuffs, because Brooks knew this was wrong, and he chose comfort over courage. Mercer turned back to Marcus, satisfied. You see, Mercer said, even my partner agrees. That's not what he said, Marcus replied. Mercer stepped closer. You don't get to interpret police conversations, Mercer said. That's above your pay grade. Marcus shook his head slightly. I haven't been aggressive, Marcus said. I haven't threatened anyone. Your camera being off doesn't change that. Mercer smirked. It changes everything, he said quietly. Then, louder. Sir, due to your continued non-compliance, you are under arrest. Marcus felt his chest tighten. Under arrest for what? Marcus asked. Mercer paused just a fraction too long. Then he said it. Resisting detention, Mercer replied. Marcus almost laughed. Almost. Instead, he spoke clearly, slowly, so his phone could capture every word. I am not resisting, Marcus said. Your body camera is off. Mine is not. Mercer's smile vanished. What did you say? Mercer asked. Marcus didn't repeat it. He didn't need to, because Mercer understood. And for the first time since he arrived, Mercer looked unsure. Not scared, not apologetic, but aware. Because even without his body cam, Mercer knew there was now a record he couldn't control. And Officer Daniel Brooks knew it too. He just wasn't brave enough to say it out loud. Not yet. Marcus stood there in cuffs, facing the street, like a trophy in someone else's victory parade. Officer Mercer stayed close, pacing slightly, like a man enjoying the moment, like he wanted the neighborhood to remember this the day he handled a threat. But Marcus wasn't a threat. He was just a man trying not to die over a misunderstanding. Marcus's wrists were on fire now. The cuffs were too tight, cutting into the skin. He could feel numbness creeping into his fingers. He took a slow breath and spoke calmly. Officer Mercer, Marcus said, I need you to loosen these cuffs. They're too tight. Mercer didn't even look at him. Stop whining, Mercer said. You'll survive. Marcus stared ahead, jaw tight. Then he said the words Mercer hated most. I want to speak to a supervisor. Mercer stopped pacing. He turned slowly, like Marcus had just insulted his mother. A supervisor? Mercer repeated. For what? For the way you're handling this, Marcus replied. Mercer's face hardened. You think you're special? Mercer said. You think you can just call for the manager like this is a restaurant? Marcus didn't answer the insult. He stayed focused. I'm asking for a supervisor, Marcus repeated, and I want to make a phone call. Mercer laughed. A phone call? He said. You're not in a movie, Marcus swallowed. I have the right to make a call, Marcus said, and I want to make it now. Mercer looked at him for a long moment. Then he glanced toward the neighbors, the phones, the watching faces. And Marcus realized what was happening. Mercer didn't want to look weak. He didn't want to back down. So instead of doing the smart thing, verifying identity, Mercer decided to humiliate Marcus one more time. He stepped closer. Fine, Mercer said. Make your call. Marcus blinked. Mercer leaned in, voice low. But here's the deal, Mercer continued. You're calling on speaker, and if I don't like what I hear, you're going straight downtown. Marcus nodded. That's fine, he said. Mercer reached into Marcus's hoodie pocket aggressively, patting him down like he was searching for weapons. Marcus flinched slightly. Don't touch me like that. Marcus said. Mercer smirked. I'll touch you however I want, Mercer replied. You're under arrest. Marcus didn't respond, because his phone was still recording. Mercer pulled Marcus's phone out, a black iPhone with a cracked corner, and held it up. Unlock it, Mercer said. Marcus hesitated. Unlock it, Mercer repeated louder. Marcus slowly leaned forward and used Face ID. The phone unlocked. Mercer scrolled through Marcus's contacts with a smug grin, like he was looking for something embarrassing. Who we calling? Mercer asked. Your mum? Your boys? Somebody coming to save you? Marcus kept his voice calm. My wife, he said. Mercer raised an eyebrow. Your wife? He repeated. Yeah. What's she gonna do? Come cry at me? Marcus didn't answer. He just said her name. Rachel Hill. Mercer searched the contacts and found it. Rachel Hill. Work. He pressed the call button. Then he hit speaker. The phone rang once. Twice. Mercer's smile was still there, but thinner now. On the third ring, someone answered. A woman's voice came through, calm, sharp, professional. Rachel Hill speaking. Marcus lifted his chin slightly. Rachel, Marcus said, it's me. I'm on Brookfield Court. I'm in handcuffs. There was a pause that felt like the entire street went silent. Then Rachel spoke again, and her tone changed instantly. Marcus, are you safe? She asked. Marcus's eyes stayed on Mercer. No, Marcus said, I'm not. And I need you here now. Mercer's expression twitched. Rachel's voice came through stronger. Put the officer on the phone. Mercer hesitated. What? He asked. Rachel repeated it colder this time. Put the officer on the phone. Mercer swallowed. And for the first time since he arrived, Officer Kyle Mercer looked like a man who suddenly realized he might have grabbed the wrong person. Mercer didn't hand the phone over immediately. He stood there holding it like it suddenly weighed too much. Rachel Hill's voice came through the speaker again, calm, controlled, but razor sharp. Officer, she said, this is Rachel Hill. Put yourself on the phone. Mercer glanced around. The neighbors were still watching. 2 phones were clearly recording now. Mercer's ego fought with his instincts for a second. Then he forced a fake smile and leaned toward the phone. This is Officer Mercer, he said. Ma'am, your husband is being detained. He's being detained for what? Rachel cut in instantly. Mercer paused. A fraction too long. For suspicious behavior, Mercer said. Rachel didn't raise her voice. That made her more dangerous. Suspicious behavior? In his own driveway? She asked. In front of his own house? Mercer's eyes flicked to Marcus, then away. Mom, we received a call. He matched the description. The description of what? Rachel interrupted. A black man in a hoodie? With tools? Mercer's face tightened. Marcus could see it. Mercer hated being challenged, but he couldn't lash out now, not with a woman like Rachel on the line. Mercer cleared his throat. Ma'am, I'm just doing my job, Mercer said. Rachel's voice dropped slightly, colder. Then do it correctly, she said, because I'm on my way, and you need to call your supervisor right now. Mercer scoffed softly. I don't have to. Yes, you do, Rachel said, sharper now. Because I work for the district attorney's office, and I'm telling you right now, if you touch him again, this becomes a criminal matter. The street felt like it froze. Marcus didn't move, but he felt something shift. Mercer's face changed, not into fear exactly, but into calculation, like his brain was suddenly trying to reverse time. Rachel continued. And before you say anything, she added, my husband has been recording this entire encounter. Mercer's eyes snapped to Marcus. Marcus said nothing. He didn't smile. He didn't gloat. He just stared back calmly, letting Mercer sit in the truth. Mercer's throat bobbed as he swallowed. Rachel's voice came through again. Now listen carefully, she said. Loosen the cuffs, step away from him, and call a supervisor. Immediately. Mercer forced a laugh, a weak one. Ma'am, I don't know what he told you, but he's not recording anything. He's just trying to. Marcus spoke, calm and clear. My phone is recording in my pocket, Marcus said. And your body cam is off. That sentence hit Mercer like a punch. Mercer's head snapped around toward his vest. His hand rose instinctively to the body cam. Still off. Officer Brooks, standing near the cruiser, looked like he wanted to disappear into the pavement. Mercer turned back toward Marcus, his eyes now full of something different. Not power. Not arrogance. Panic. Because Mercer knew what this meant. It meant the story wouldn't belong to him. He wouldn't be able to write the report however he wanted. He wouldn't be able to claim Marcus was aggressive, without evidence. And worst of all, he wouldn't be able to hide behind the system. Mercer stepped closer to Marcus, lowering his voice so the neighbors couldn't hear. "Turn that recording off," Mercer whispered. Marcus didn't blink. "No," Marcus replied. Mercer's face tightened. "Listen," Mercer said, voice still low. "We can handle this right now. I can cut you loose. We'll both forget this happened." Marcus stared at him. "You already put cuffs on me in front of my neighbors," Marcus said quietly. "There's nothing to forget." Mercer's jaw clenched hard. He glanced down the street. And that's when he saw it. A car turning onto Brookfield Court fast. A black SUV. Driving with purpose. Driving like someone who already knew the truth. Marcus recognized it immediately. Rachel's car. Mercer recognized the urgency even faster. His posture stiffened, his face drained slightly. Because he knew Rachel Hill wasn't coming to talk. She was coming to end something, and Mercer was standing right in the middle of it. The black SUV didn't slow down when it turned onto Brookfield Court. It pulled up hard, stopping just short of the patrol car. The driver's door opened before the engine was fully off. Rachel Hill stepped out. She wasn't yelling. She wasn't running. She was calm, the kind of calm that came from knowing exactly what she was about to do. Rachel was in her late 30s, wearing a navy blazer over a white blouse, her hair pulled back tight. She didn't look like someone coming to argue. She looked like someone coming to document. She locked eyes with Marcus first. Then she looked at the cuffs. Then she looked at Officer Mercer. Her expression hardened. "Who's the supervisor on duty?" Rachel asked. Mercer opened his mouth. Before he could speak, a second patrol car pulled in behind his lights, flashing this time. Out stepped Sergeant Alan Reeves, a thick-set man with graying hair and the tired look of someone who'd been cleaning up messes for years. Reeves took one look at Marcus in cuffs, then at Rachel. "Sergeant Reeves," Rachel said calmly. "Rachel Hill, District Attorney's Office." Reeves exhaled slowly. "Officer Mercer," Reeves said, turning sharply. "Step away from the subject. Now." Mercer hesitated. "Just a second." Reeves's voice dropped. "That wasn't a suggestion." Mercer stepped back. Rachel moved immediately to Marcus. She didn't touch him yet. She spoke clearly. "Marcus," she said. "Are you injured?" "My wrists," Marcus replied. "They're numb." Rachel looked at Reeves. "Loosen the cuffs," she said. Reeves nodded once. "Do it," he told Mercer. Mercer fumbled with the key. His hands were shaking. When the cuffs finally came off, deep red marks circled Marcus's wrists. Rachel saw them. Reeves saw them. The neighbors saw them. Rachel took a breath. "Now," she said, turning toward Reeves. "Before anyone says anything else, my husband has an audio recording of this entire encounter, from first contact." Reeves's eyes snapped to Mercer. "Is that true?" Reeves asked. Mercer stammered. I don't know." "And your body cam?" Rachel added. Reeves didn't ask. He looked. The camera was off. Reeves closed his eyes for half a second. "Officer Mercer," Reeves said quietly, "when did your body cam stop recording?" Mercer didn't answer. Rachel pulled out her own phone. "Would you like to hear the recording now?" she asked. The street went silent. Reeves nodded. "Yes," he said. "I would." Rachel pressed play. Mercer's voice filled the air, distorted but unmistakable. "You people always say that. Stop resisting. I'll touch you however I want." Each sentence landed like a hammer. Reeves's jaw tightened. Officer Brooks stared at the ground. The neighbors didn't move. When the recording ended, no one spoke for a moment. Then Reeves turned to Mercer. "Hand me your badge," he said. Mercer laughed nervously. "Sergeant, come on." "Badge," Reeves repeated. "And your weapon." Mercer's face collapsed. He slowly unclipped his badge, then his gun. Reeves took both. "Officer Kyle Mercer," Reeves said, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You are being placed on administrative leave pending a full internal affairs investigation." Rachel stepped closer. "And for the record," she added, "this doesn't end here." Mercer looked at Marcus, really looked at him for the first time without power, without authority, without control. And Marcus realized something in that moment. This wasn't just about being let go. This was the beginning of the end. Because once the truth was out, there was no version of this story where Mercer survived it. Officer Mercer didn't leave Brookfield Court in handcuffs. Not yet. But as Sergeant Reeves held his badge and weapon in his hand, Mercer already looked like a man who had been sentenced. Because in policing, there were mistakes. And then there were moments you couldn't rewrite. This was one of those. Reeves walked Mercer toward the patrol car, keeping his voice low but not low enough. "You're done for the day," Reeves said. "You're going to the station. You're going to write a statement. And you're going to pray this doesn't get worse." Mercer's eyes darted toward the neighbors again. 2 phones were still up. Recording. Mercer tried to straighten his posture, tried to regain a little dignity, but it was too late. The street had already seen the truth. Rachel turned toward Marcus. "Get inside," she said softly. "I'll handle the rest." Marcus didn't move right away. His hands were free now, but his wrists still throbbed. He looked at Reeves. "I want his name and badge number," Marcus said. Reeves nodded immediately. "Kyle Mercer," Reeves replied. "Badge 2174. Mercer flinched at the sound of it like his identity had just been turned into evidence. Rachel stepped closer to Reeves. "And I want the body cam footage from Officer Brooks," she said. "Now. Before it disappears." Reeves didn't argue. He looked at Brooks. "Brooks," Reeves said sharply, "upload your footage. Immediately." Brooks swallowed hard. "Yes, Sergeant," he said. Marcus watched Brooks closely. He looked terrified. Not of Marcus. Of Mercer. That detail stuck in Marcus's mind. Reeves then made another call, one Mercer clearly didn't expect. He stepped a few feet away and spoke into his phone quietly. "Yeah, it's Reeves. I need Internal Affairs notified right now. And I need a lieutenant on scene. This is going to be a problem." Mercer's face drained further. Rachel heard it too. She turned her head slightly, watching Mercer like a prosecutor watching a suspect. And then, within minutes, the situation escalated again, but this time against Mercer. A third vehicle arrived, not a patrol car. A white, city-issued sedan. Out stepped Lieutenant Karen Willis, clean uniform, sharp eyes, no friendliness in her expression. She walked straight toward Reeves. "What happened?" she asked. Reeves didn't sugarcoat it. "Illegal detention," he said. "Excessive force. Body cam off. Racist language caught on civilian recording." Willis's eyes flicked to Mercer, then to Marcus, then to Rachel. She didn't ask for opinions. She asked for facts. Rachel handed her phone over. "Here's the audio," Rachel said. Willis listened. Her face didn't change while she listened, but something in her eyes hardened. When the audio ended, she handed the phone back. Then she looked Mercer dead in the face. "Officer Mercer," Willis said, "you are ordered not to speak to any witnesses, not to contact Officer Brooks, not to contact the complainant, not to post online, not to delete anything from your personal phone. Do you understand?" Mercer's mouth opened. He tried to speak. Willis cut him off. "Do you understand?" she repeated. Mercer nodded. "Yes," he muttered. Willis turned to Reeves. "Escort him to the station," she said. "Now." Then she turned to Rachel. "Miss Hill," Willis said, "Internal Affairs will contact you today. We will be requesting a formal statement." Rachel nodded. "And I'll be requesting criminal charges," Rachel replied calmly. Willis didn't flinch. She simply said, "Understood." Marcus stood there, still shaken, but now he could feel something else rising. Not fear, not helplessness. Momentum, because Mercer didn't just lose control. He lost protection. And once a department realizes an officer is radioactive, they don't defend him, they sacrifice him. Fast. By the time the sun set that evening, Brookfield Court wasn't just a quiet neighborhood anymore. It was a headline. Marcus didn't post the video himself. Rachel didn't either. They didn't need to. One of the neighbors, the same ones who had been silently watching, uploaded a shaky clip online with a caption that read, "Cops arrest homeowner in his own driveway, body cam off." And within hours, it exploded. The clip spread across Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, every platform where people had seen the story 100 times before and were tired of it. But this time, something was different. This time, there was audio. Clear audio. Not edited. Not chopped up. Mercer's voice. Mercer's insults. Mercer's stop resisting performance while Marcus stayed calm. And the moment everyone kept replaying was Marcus saying, "Your body cam is off. Mine is not." That sentence became the nail in Mercer's career. By midnight, the department's public relations team issued a short statement. It wasn't an apology. It was damage control. The department is aware of the incident involving Officer Kyle Mercer. An investigation is underway. But the public wasn't interested in underway. They wanted consequences. The next morning, local news vans parked outside the police station. Protesters gathered by noon. Not thousands, but enough. Enough to make city officials nervous. Enough to make the chief show his face. At 2 p.m., the chief held a press conference. Marcus watched it from his living room, wrist wrapped in a light bandage, a cup of coffee going cold on the table. Rachel stood beside him, arms crossed. The chief looked exhausted. He didn't say Mercer's name at first, but then the questions came. Reporters asked about the body cam being off. Reporters asked about past complaints. Reporters asked the one question that always destroyed careers. Was this officer previously disciplined? The chief hesitated. And that hesitation told everyone what they needed to know, because it meant this wasn't new. It was just finally caught. Within 48 hours, the city confirmed. Mercer was suspended without pay. Internal Affairs opened a formal case. The DA's office requested the full file. Officer Brooks was officially interviewed as a witness, and then, quietly, the bigger truth surfaced. Mercer had complaints. Not one. Not two. A pattern. Traffic stops that felt wrong. Searches with no cause. Aggressive detentions. A history of bad attitude reports. But like always, the system had protected him. Until now. Because now, the evidence wasn't a complaint. It was a recording. And recordings don't care about badges. A week later, Rachel and Marcus sat in a conference room with a civil rights attorney. The attorney didn't talk like a politician. He talked like a man who'd seen this too many times. "This is a federal case," he said. "Fourth Amendment violation. False detention. Abuse of power. And the body cam being off. That's going to bury him." Marcus didn't smile. He didn't celebrate. He just stared at his wrist. Because even with justice coming, he still remembered the fear. The humiliation. The way the street had watched him like he was guilty. Rachel squeezed his hand, and Marcus finally said the truth out loud. "If I wasn't recording," Marcus said quietly, "I'd be the one in trouble right now." The attorney nodded. "Exactly," he said, "and that's why this matters. Because this wasn't just about one racist cop losing his job. This was about proof, and for the first time in a long time, proof won."